Alright, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into the epic journey of an absolutely extraordinary historical figure. We're taking some truly fascinating historical sources and breaking them down so you can get a real feel for the people who literally shaped history. Specifically, we're looking at the early life of Hazrat Ali, may Allah be pleased with him. We're going to trace his incredible evolution from a quiet, observant kid in Mecca to, honestly, one of the most legendary figures in Islamic history. The sources we're looking at paint this incredibly vivid picture of sacrifice, unwavering loyalty, and just immense courage.
So, let's kick things off with a pretty foundational question. How exactly does a young boy, born into a household that's really struggling to make ends meet, grow up to alter the course of human history? I mean, it sounds like a classic hero's journey, right? But this is 100% grounded in real historical events. We're talking about a kid who didn't grow up in some lavish palace. Instead, he was raised in an environment that tested his resilience from day one.
Section 1. A Noble Beginning. To really understand the man, we've got to go back to his roots in Mecca. He was born into the house of Abu Talib, a home that, while marked by severe poverty, was incredibly rich in honor. The Banu Hashim family was known all over Mecca for their nobility, their loyalty, and their absolute willingness to sacrifice for others. The whole city respected them, even when times were incredibly tough. And you know, the story of his birth and his naming reflects this perfectly. When he was born, his mother, Fatima bint Asad, originally named him Asad, which translates to lion. It's a super powerful name, right? It just screams strength. But his father, Abu Talib, decided to change it to Ali, which means exalted, elevated, or of high rank. And the crazy thing is, at that exact moment, absolutely no one in Mecca could have known just how perfectly this title of exalted, combined with the bravery of a lion, would fit his ultimate destiny. Now, his childhood hits a massive turning point when this severe famine strikes Mecca. It made basic survival incredibly difficult. So, to help ease Abu Talib's burden, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, along with his uncle Abbas, stepped up and offered to take in some of the kids. Abbas took Jafar, and the Prophet took young Ali into his own home. And guys, this wasn't just a simple change of address. This was a profound, life-altering shift. Ali goes from a home defined by this intense tribal struggle to a household completely defined by absolute truth, modesty, and deep spiritual purity, alongside the Prophet and his wife, Khadijah.
Section 2. The First Spark of Faith.
You know, Ali was a boy really characterized by three things: silence, deep understanding, and absolute loyalty. Because he grew up in this incredibly pure environment, he never worshipped idols. But his true introduction to faith, that happened in the quiet of the night. One night, young Ali actually catches the Prophet praying. It's a totally new kind of worship he's never seen before. When he asks what's going on, the Prophet explains the concept of one God. And Ali, showing maturity way beyond his years, doesn't just blindly nod along. He says he needs to think about it, maybe even ask his dad. But he stays awake that entire night just wrestling with this profound internal realization. He's thinking to himself, is truth to be abandoned just because people won't support it? By morning, it just clicks. He realizes that the truth of one God doesn't need anyone's permission. He goes straight back to the Prophet and accepts the faith right then and there. And that brings us to a number that is just incredibly powerful. 3. Just 3. For a time, there were literally only 3 people worshiping at the Kaaba in this new way: the Prophet, Khadijah, and young Ali. I mean, just picture that visual for a second. The entire city of Mecca is bustling all around them, totally lost in centuries-old traditions of idol worship. And here's this small, resilient trio, standing completely alone, anchored by a young boy whose conviction was just absolute.
Section 3. Guarding the Message.
So as the message starts to quietly spread, the vibe in Mecca gets really tense. It's dangerous. The early days of the faith weren't fought with swords on a battlefield. They were navigated with extreme caution and serious wisdom. And young Ali, he takes on this crucial, almost mysterious role, identifying true seekers. He had this incredible, uncanny gift for reading people. He could spot who was just in Mecca for business, who was looking for a spectacle, and who was actually genuinely searching for truth. One day, he spots this restless stranger in the dusty streets. This guy is Abu Dar, from the Banu Gifar tribe. Now the city's on edge, and anyone asking about the Prophet is risking severe consequences. Ali approaches him super carefully and asks this really piercing question. What are you looking for? Trade, refuge, or answers? And the stranger? He simply replies, answers. Ali's sharp intuition was just spot on. He completely senses Abu Dar's sincerity and carefully, discreetly guides this seeker right through the hostile streets of Mecca directly to the Prophet. Ali successfully protected the profound secret of the new faith, all while making sure a man desperately searching for the truth finally found it. Section 4. The Knights of Bravery. Eventually, though, the secret just couldn't be contained anymore. As the ranks of believers grew, the leaders of Mecca, the Quraysh, realized they couldn't just ignore or mock the message anymore. The danger skyrockets, leading us right into one of the most suspenseful nights in human history. They come up with this chillingly calculated assassination plot. Here's exactly how they structured the whole shebang. Step 1. Gather one strong youth from every single tribe in Mecca. Step 2. They all strike the Prophet together at the exact same moment. Step 3. This perfectly distributes the blood guilt. Because literally every tribe is involved, the Prophet's family, the Banu Hashim, couldn't possibly wage war against the entire city to get revenge. It was a flawless, deadly trap. The assassins surround the house, they are heavily armed, they're waiting for dawn to strike, and there is seemingly absolutely no way out. Which brings us to a massive, mind-boggling question. How do you possibly survive a perfectly coordinated assassination attempt when your house is completely surrounded, while you sleep in the target's bed? Seriously. The Prophet asks Ali to take his place, to literally lie in his bed and cover himself with his mantle. And Ali, he doesn't even hesitate. He doesn't bring up how young he is or the sheer terror of the situation. He just lies down. The source material tells us he slept peacefully, completely under the shadow of death, trusting entirely in God's protection. So when the assassins finally burst in at dawn and rip back the covers, they don't find their target, they find Ali. Their perfect master plan is shattered in an instant, and it buys the Prophet the exact time he needed to escape. Section 5. A New Life in Medina. Following that night of ultimate sacrifice, Ali sets out on this grueling, solitary migration on foot to Medina. We're talking walking through the dead of night and hiding from the scorching desert sun during the day. But despite the severe physical toll and blistered feet, he finally makes it to Quba, just outside Medina, where the Prophet had been waiting for him. And when he arrives, a completely new society is being built from the ground up. The Prophet establishes this beautiful system of brotherhood between the immigrants from Mecca and the helpers of Medina. Ali gets paired up with an honorable companion named Sal ibn Hunayf. But honestly, perhaps the most beautiful aspect of his new life was his marriage. Even though others had proposed to the Prophet's beloved daughter, Lady Fatima, it was Ali who was chosen. His proposal was marked by such deep modesty. In fact, he literally sat in silence out of shyness until the Prophet understood what he was asking. And because Ali possessed absolutely no wealth, his dowry, his meher, was simply his armor, just a shield. Now, despite growing into an absolute legend on the battlefield, his core always remained grounded. There's this really tender detail from the historical sources about his favorite nickname, Abu Turab, which translates to man of dust or man of soil. This title was affectionately given to him by the Prophet himself. And it just perfectly encapsulates his profound humility. Here is a man who would go on to command armies and win impossible battles, yet his absolute favorite title connected him right back to the simple, humble earth. When we look back, we can really see the breathtaking pace of his evolution. In Mecca, we saw his quiet childhood and that really early embrace of faith. Then comes the night of Hijrah, marking his ultimate willingness to literally sacrifice his own life in the Prophet's bed.
Over in Medina, we see his character completely solidify through spiritual brotherhood and his deeply modest marriage to Fatima. And all of this builds up to legendary moments like the Battle of Khaybar, where the Prophet announced he'd hand the flag of victory to a man who loves God and his messenger and whom God and his messenger love, and he hands that flag right to Ali.
But if we trace all of these incredible historic events back to their source, it all comes down to the number one. This entire monumental journey was driven by a single, unwavering belief in one God. It was the absolute truth he realized as a young kid staring into the dark Meccan night, and it was the exact same truth he defended with his life, his sword, and his spirit every single day after that. Which leaves us with this final thought. You know, history often remembers its heroes merely for their martial prowess, their victories in battle, and their skill with a sword. But as we've seen from these sources today, the foundation of Hazrat Ali's life wasn't just his physical strength. It was his silence, his modesty, his poverty, his quiet worship, and his unparalleled loyalty. So, beyond the sword and the battlefield, how will you remember this legacy of ultimate patience, humility, and absolute loyalty? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I highly encourage you to keep exploring these incredible moments in history. Catch you next time.
अगर आपको ये वीडियो पसंद आई हो तो हमारे चैनल अमर जुनाइद 46 को जरूर सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल आइकन पर क्लिक करें ताकि आने वाली हर